All right, and we're live. Welcome, everybody, to SampleServe's Masterclass Wednesdays. I'm Joshua Paul, Marketing Director for SampleServe. And yes, I do get a haircut tomorrow, so do not worry. I got with us today Paul Goodrow of Vinoran Partners and Russell Schindler, CEO of SampleServe. And we like to do this every Wednesday. We call it Masterclass because we really like to show everybody how to use our apps proficiently. And if you have any comments, make sure you throw them in the chat. Today's a special day. We're going to be going over some videos that we took live in the field with field techs. And make sure if you know anybody that, isn't using SampleServe, pass this along to them because this is a really great example of our applications in use real time in the field. So I'm going to hand it off to you, Paul. Give us a little introduction.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Josh. And thank you, everybody, for attending. I know your time is valuable. As Josh said, we're really here just to help you become more efficient, effective using our system, our digital solution. We have 4 products. We primarily focus on Sample ENV, which is the digital solution that has a mobile field app and allows you to gather information for multiple sampling sites at a time, submit them to a lab and print them out. So that's our primary solution, but we have 3 others, which we'd love to expose to you later. But for today, a day in the life of a field tech. And Josh, on warm-up here, accused me of not ever living in the real world on how actually stuff gets done out there. And I had to remind him, I spent plenty of times kneeling over a groundwater monitoring well, so I've done my duty. But this is great because this does follow one of our partner companies, H2O Investigations, who's using our applications. And Josh just tagged along. So I'm anxious to see this. I haven't seen it yet, so I hope it's good.
Yeah, this is actually, these videos are brand new to Russell and Paul. So we're all going to do some commentary on after each segment. So we'll see how it happens. So let's say, what do you say we get into the first trip here? All right, here we go, guys.
My name is Dave Alper. I'm with H2O Investigations. We're a company out of Muskota, Michigan. Today we're doing a new site that just opened up, and I'm sure glad I have SampleServe to help me out here. And it looks like 29.8. So before I come out to the job site, I always like to print off my paper copies. In this case, I printed out my site map and I've identified the wells that need to be sampled today. And that is entered into the SampleServe website by the engineers. Chain of custody is in here. I've already printed that off, except I probably won't use the paper copy, but I do like to have it. Since SampleServe is all done on the web here and with our tablets, and we don't have any paperwork exchange, which is a nice thing.
So let's just talk about the beginning intro there about Dave was able to print off all the stuff that he needed, and that's not necessarily needed, but Dave likes to do it just because a lot of new people using SampleServe still like to stay in the paper realm a little bit, just as kind of a safety. It's kind of a something to keep them warm and feel warm and fuzzy inside.
Yeah, people have a hard time going cold.
And I just
wanted cold turkey on paper.
Turkey on paperless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was
one of those guys.
More like Linus's blanket. You could bring it with you and feel more comfortable.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. I think kind of a cool thing about this is you see someone who's in transition between digital solutions and paper solutions, right?
Yeah.
And that happens.
Majority of the environment.
That's happening today in every organization. People are trying to adopt digital solutions, but they may feel uncomfortable going digital alone. So this is a nice offering. And like you said, you may not do the chain of custody at all. So you might just use SampleServe chain of custody for that, huh?
Yeah, I know they do.
Yeah, they're using the digital chain of custody for sure.
Yeah.
But the nice thing is that if the lab isn't using the digital chain of custody, that you can still send them that paper form chain of custody anytime you want.
Yeah.
And you can go into your project planning tool and print off everything that you would ever need. You know, you got sample bottle labels that you can print in the field. If you don't have a field printer, you can print off a site map. You can do a whole print off of your work scope, so you have it all on paper. Everything is transferable to a paper format if you want to, but you don't need to.
You can tell by Dave's years of experience on this planet that he is an old school guy trying to transition, and he is successfully transitioning to the new way of doing things. So, but he likes to have that security blanket of having some paper backup just in case. So.
I think one of the things, maybe it's obvious, but I just thought of it, is that although you're printing out paper, you never have to input on a paper form, right?
Yeah.
Because all that data is being inputted on your tablet while you're out in the field and accessible to you. So this is really static stuff that he's printing out just to help him guide his scope of work.
Right.
But all the data goes into the field tablet and comes out digitally. So,
and I've talked with Dave, and I know it's just in case something goes wrong with his devices while he's out there, he can still complete the job without, manually if needed. So that's really the reason he does it. He's just one of those guys that's super, diligent to really make sure that everything's going to go fine. So he's very, very diligent about things.
Yeah. So let's get into the next part of the video. And here's chapter 2. Let's continue.
And the first thing I need to do is grab the GPS location. So just to get as close to the well, hit grab GPS, and it puts it right into the tablet for me. So next time I come out, I can walk right to it with my GPS. Now I need to, these are all new wells, so we have to enter the new type of construction. So the well diameter in this case is a 2-inch. There's times when it's an older well and it may need some work done to it, like a new lid, bolts missing, seals bad, cap missing. There is an area in here for equipment, and you can identify what's wrong with each well that way. Total tubing length is 38 feet. I just added new tubing since this is a new well. Inside diameter is going to be a 0.25, which will automatically figure my volume now, which is 366.8. So I'm going to take my first reading. It already gives me the depth of water, my flow rate, my running volume. So I'm going to enter my pH, which is 8.11. It will tell me in the next 2 minutes, it'll give me a little beep and it'll tell me it's time to take another reading. So I've got 2 minutes to do other things if I need to. I've already put in the GPS. Now I'm going to take a photograph to show exactly where this well is located. So there's a spot here where you just hit photos. I'm going to add a photo. I'm going to use the well itself, and I'm going to show where that power box is on the wall there. We'll hit it. So next time I come out, I just have to pull up the photo and I can tell where it is. I'm going to take another one in the opposite direction.
So Dave's out there using the field app to collect data. Notice that he's not really putting anything on paper during all this.
Right.
It's everything's there for him that he needs. If he wants to fill out a form, they can create that form before they go out in the field, and they can make that completely customized for anything that they need. And another thing is you see in this picture here, Dave's also got another tablet with in situ's
View. It's called the View Situ app.
Yeah, the View Situ app open. Now, one of the neat things is that we're actually working on connecting the two so that you can directly pull up all the information that app does right now directly into the SampleServe field app, which is going to be hands down way simpler.
Very simple. Yeah, we have a contract with In Situ to kind of merge our app into their device so that that those readings, the pH and stuff that he's all typing in, connectivity, ORP, all that'll get pushed right into our app. So it really will just be just kind of collecting that information every 3 minutes, every 2 minutes, whatever the timing is on your particular flow rate and your volume conversion in your meter.
Right.
So Josh, I think it's worth saying that this was a new well location, which required him to put in some data up front before he started his purging.
Yep.
And for existing well locations, none of that initial stuff would have had to been put in because it'd already be resident in his scope of work file, which would be on his tablet. So, he could have started purging, collecting data, pH immediately if it was a well that was already there, right?
Yep.
And those photos would have already been taken, and so he'd be able to just look at the photos on the app and confirm he's on the right well. But he can add new photos, because sometimes
things change.
Maybe a pile of snow on it, and in the case he were to show up there again next, time he's out there and there's snow, because of those photos, he'll be able to find things a lot easier.
Yeah, and let's take a look at what it looks like actually in the app. So we'll pull up the app here. And you can see these are the photos that he took while we were filming. Here's one from one angle, and then here's one from the other angle. You can see you have that box here, and with the corner of the building, so that let's say in the middle of winter, you can very easily find this well using this picture by being able to line up the things that are in the background.
Yep.
And also because he took a GPS location, you can, easily find just like Google Maps, you can find exactly where that well is going to be.
Yep.
And the GPS is also good, nice and easy, especially when you're making maps in the future. When you upload all the analytical data, you know exactly where that well is on the map easily.
Yep. And then GPS is, it's not like survey quality GPS, but it's within, 3 feet. So, I mean, it could be less than that, but it typically is within 3 feet.
Right.
Okay, Josh, let's keep going, man.
I like it. All right. Let's go to the next stage.
I'm going to hit collect the sample. Signature block comes up. I just use this stylus tip. Signature. Get a shot of where I'm located and who did the collecting. That's done. Hit continue. And my labels should print off for this sample. In this case, I'm taking 3 samples at each well. These labels seem to stick to just about anything. Pull off the QR code. There's 2 of them on there in case you need an extra one or want to put it somewhere else on the bottom of the bottle or wherever. That's it. Collect 2 more, and that's it for well 17. Without SampleServe, I would probably still be filling out the paperwork on depth and location, and it's just so much easier to locate the wells in the future now with SampleServe, because you got the GPS, the photos, especially in the winter times. Winters in Michigan, 18 inches of snow, and I have to go out and try to locate a well, and it's nice to have the GPS location on it and a reference point with a photo of where to find it at. Paperwork wise, my day is done after I take the last sample. I just forward the information to the company I'm working for, and when I get to the lab, it's a couple clicks of a button, take a picture, turn the samples over. Once they show they've received it on their tablet, if they're using SampleServe, I'm done. And chain of custody is complete. It's now in the hands of the lab.
Josh, he makes it sound so simple,
Oh, David is amazing out there. I tell you what.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
I just hit record and he just started talking, man. I'll tell you what.
I can tell you, as somebody who's collected just thousands and thousands of samples and used our own chain of custody, it is actually pretty cool, because you're like, when you're driving away from that site, it's like there's no like going back to the office and entering data, or like you've delivered all the data, everything's done, and that's what he's kind of getting at. So.
Hey, Nicholas Moran, I see you out there. I see you watching us. What are you thinking about all this? Leave a comment, man. I mean, how do you feel about, what do you think about going out in the field and using something like this? And I mean, with these QR codes that they put on top of the bottles here, I didn't catch him getting the custody seal on the cooler when he's done.
Yeah.
But I mean, when he drops it off at the lab that's using SampleServe's sample log lab app, they just scan that custody seal and everything pops up and they're ready to start receiving all those samples. And it only takes them like probably a minute, 2 minutes to just,
Enter
fill
all
out
that
their
data.
checklist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're not shipping your samples or the samples are in your custody all the way to the lab, there's really no need for the custody seal. But yeah, you're right. That's a great feature that if he were to ship them or give them to a courier, that's a great feature.
And Nick says, love it. Russell is a marketing genius. That kind of hurts me, Nick. That kind of hurts me right in the chest.
Hey, the other thing, guys, is this is the only equipment you need, right? The printer, and you don't actually need the printer, but a tablet and a printer is all you need from a hardware standpoint.
You don't necessarily need the printer. You can pre-print the labels before you go out in the field, but we always recommend the printer because it ensures accuracy. You're only printing the labels when you're making those during the samples that you're doing, and you're applying it to those samples. So you never mix up a label.
Right. Yeah, that's the problem. Is if they're pre-printed, it happens, frequently, but on a regular basis where people they're just getting in a groove and they actually end up pulling the wrong label off the sheets of labels. And next thing you know, you're at the next well and you're like, wait a minute, I already did. And then it'll be 3. Why do I still have this label? And then you figure it out, or sometimes they don't figure it out. And, so that can be a problem. But when there are no labels other than the ones you just printed, and it's printing where you just sampled, it's almost impossible to have any label mix-ups.
Thanks, Nick. His genius led to you. That's what he says. About what do you say? Something about that. Yeah, you mentioned it before, Russell, about not having. Once he's done on this last sample, he's done for the day. He doesn't have to go back in the office and repeat all this data entry into like an Excel sheet or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And in the data, it can be delivered right at the time of sampling. You can deliver delayed data to your client or your project manager after every sample, right? So people can stay abreast of what's going on. In this case, I know the client, when they're done for the day, likes to get the data right away. And so before he's left the site, he just, on his hotspot, sends that file to the client and, everything's done.
Right. And the project manager, he's watching, through the project management tool, he's seeing that this is in progress. And every time a new sample gets made, if he's connected to the internet in the field, which he was, all of that data is getting updated back in the project management tool.
Yeah, there's been many instances, because we talk to our clients all the time, and where they've told us like, oh yeah, it's great. I was able to figure out that they transposed some numbers on a depth of water, or they actually sampled the wrong well in one instance. So they just saw the pictures and everything. They're like, that's not the right well, because it was a new site like that and they hadn't used it previously. So where they hadn't used our app previously and didn't have photos, and the person ended up sampling the wrong well. And they were able to go back and correct that mistake before they even left the site.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey Josh, let's keep moving. Where's this stuff? We're gonna store. You're gonna send this clip out, right? This whole recording. But are these going to be stored on our website too, someplace?
Yeah, there's going to be a long form version that anybody can watch. It'll be on the website.
Right.
We'll make sure we push it out on LinkedIn and everything. Every field tech needs to watch this video, honestly. I mean, it's so different than what it used to be. So let's keep it going. Paul, we're starting a new partnership program. And this entails pretty much everybody in the industry. We're trying to connect everybody in the industry to get everybody on one single, platform with data formats, and we're trying to just like create a hub, all in one hub for the environmental industry. And Paul explained to us how that works.
Well, you just kind of by example in these previous videos, you could tell who we connect with, right? We connect with equipment and supply rentals. Russell talked about a link into in situ. That's obviously one of our partners moving forward. Consultant engineers, H2O investigations, that's a consulting engineer. A laboratory who accepts the samples. In this case, it's EnviroLab, another partner of ours. And then third-party digital solutions. We can team our solution with other solutions that are in the field that can, allow us to provide an additional vertical functionality to, let's say, a geotech and materials testing program. So, in the world of digital transformation, it's not as simple as just selling to a client, an end user. You really do offer your functionality to multiple channels. So we're trying to create the optimal partner channels so it better serves really ultimately our clients. So that's our strategy, and please join the journey. It's going to be fun, and we really have made some significant progress in all these partner channels. I know Russell will have something to talk about in a couple of days about a new partner channel as well. So stay tuned for more.
Yeah, it's going to get real exciting here, especially probably by the end of the month. It's going to be some fun stuff going on. And I just want to mention to everybody, Masterclass Wednesdays usually focuses on sample log, which is our environmental for environmental professionals like consulting firms, environmental laboratories. But we also have other solutions like Sample H2O, which is geared towards like municipal drinking water laboratories. It really cuts down on paperwork. It cuts down on communication, and it makes it a lot easier, and helps with margins on drinking water testing. And Sample SWR is our wastewater testing app. There's a company, Shield T3, that's been using it for a while, and they're really taking off with it. They've implemented it, and not just wastewater. They're doing a lot of other types of testing now.
Animal health,
animal health,
farms, that kind of stuff.
Dairy farms, they're taking off with it, and anybody can get into that market themselves very easily with that app. So I just want to thank everybody for coming. Make sure you give this a like and a share. If you know a field tech that's not using SampleServe in the field, send this over to them. They need to watch it. Everybody needs to watch this. And I think that's it, guys. What do you say?
That's it.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. Happy Wednesday.
Yeah, happy Wednesday. We'll see you guys next week for the next masterclass.
All right.
Over and out.